Angel and the Witch Hunter by John Victor Ramses. Copyright 2024. Angel and the Witch Hunter is a work of fiction. Names of characters are the result of fiction or coincidence. Song lyric credit: Little Miss Magic. Written and performed by Jimmy Buffett on his album, Coconut Telegraph, 1987. Synchronicity is God sending us messages anonymously. When you live your life with an appreciation of coincidences and their meanings, you connect with the underlying field of infinite possibilities. Deepak Chopra. The monad is the ultimate indivisible source of all existence, representing unity, oneness, and the origin of all being in metaphysical and philosophical traditions. The Prologue. Margaret River, Western Australia. As the moon cast a pale light through the window, John Mercer leaned down to kiss his 10-year-old daughter goodnight. Her blue eyes were lit with love as she stared into his eyes and smiled. John returned a smile, though his heart was tight with fear. From around his neck, he removed a necklace, a shimmering talisman in the image of a hummingbird, and slipped it over his daughter's head. "Wear this, sweetheart, and promise me you'll never take it off." Detecting a seriousness in his tone, concern filled the young girl's eyes. "This is for protection. Am I in trouble?" John forced a smile, attempting to reassure her. "It just looks so pretty on you. I've been meaning to give it to you." Holding it delicately, the young girl admired the radiant bird. "It reminds me of you, Daddy. You've worn it forever." "But you said it only glows when something bad is going to happen." "Everything's fine," he whispered, doubting his own words. Her smile returning, the child clutched the talisman in her small hand, trusting her father completely. She didn't understand the darkness that had taken hold of their home as her father did. She hadn't noticed the macabre shadows that moved through the rooms, nor the strange phosphorescent glow emanating from her mother's eyes. Her mother, Lyra, had camouflaged it all from their daughter. But John had seen it all too clearly. "I love you with all my heart and soul, Little Miss Magic. Always remember that. No matter what may come. I love you too, Daddy." "I know you do," John smiled warmly. "Get some sleep now." Standing, John cast one last look at his daughter's small form lying snug in her bed, then he stepped out of her room. Closing her door behind him, his thoughts returned to his wife, Lyra. The memory of her laugh, her soft voice, and the love they once shared, now felt like scenes from another man's life, not his. The woman he loved, the mother of his daughter, was no more, but rather something else. A creature that had taken possession of her the night she performed a damnable seance. It had been meant as a trivial gathering, something Lyra with her two sisters, Serena and Anastasia, did for fun, a way to reconnect with ancient family spirits, learn secrets, and seek advice. But that night, something had gone unspeakably wrong. Something other than family had come through and enveloped Lyra, becoming one with her. Over the following days, the Lyra he knew vanished, replaced instead by a woman whose eyes flickered with darkness, whose touch chilled his very soul. Even her voice had changed. Then, only 2 days ago, the demon had revealed itself. This was no Hin, no common demon, but rather an Alzorian demon, among the most powerful, a prince in its realm and now as a king within his wife's body. John had tried to banish it, tried to bring Lyra back, but the demon inside her was strong, unlike any he'd encountered. For now, his wife was lost, so he turned his attention to protecting his only child, Amanraya. John no longer slept in the same bedroom with his wife. His sleep had often been shattered by nightmares since the seance, which Lyra had facetiously insisted was only his guilt of being a former witch hunter. The last night they had slept together, he had been awakened to see Lyra hovering over him, her eyes glowing red, her fingers like talons. He had become paralyzed not with fear but by some magic. The hummingbird talisman, triggered by the slightest hint of evil intent, had glowed brighter than he'd seen before, protecting him from what otherwise might have been his last moments alive. After that, he slept in a spare room. His every instinct to leave Lyra and take Amanraya was countered by a vain hope that he could still banish the demon and save his family. Lyra had retired early as she had lately done, but John dared not disturb her to say good night. Even now, passing her bedroom door, he could hear her voice whispering in a language he didn't understand. With his mind still too alert to sleep, he made his way to his room, laying still on his bed, listening, thinking, then finally dreaming. As the first light of dawn began to illuminate the spare room, John woke with a start, his face damp with sweat, his breathing heavy. Something was wrong, he could feel it. His hands trembled as he unlocked his door. Racing through the house to his daughter's room, he burst in, revealing his worst fear. His daughter's bed was empty, blankets piled on the floor, and where his daughter should have been there was only an indentation where she had slept. On her pillow, the hummingbird talisman lay lifeless and dull. Beside the talisman lay Lyra's wedding ring, as if to deliberately mock the love he thought they shared. He cursed at himself. As his mind came to terms with the situation, John's blood boiled. Clenching the talisman in his fist, he yelled out his wife's name in rage. His eyes lit with fiery fury. "Return my daughter, you filthy witch." His demand was met by silence. Running from room to room, closet to closet, searching, he found not a trace of his daughter. Fueled by a volatile mixture of hatred, love, and despair, his Eldryn magic crackled around him uncontrolled, causing windows to shatter, lights to explode, and doors to rip from their hinges as he passed. His face, once gentle and smooth, became etched with deep lines, while his brown hair turned gray even as he raged on. His was now the demeanor of a madman, a father whose precious daughter had been stolen. Rushing to a secret room hidden by magic, John did not bother to disarm the enchantment but tore through the wall as though it were a flimsy curtain. Inside, on a small table, lay a leather duffel bag beside a gleaming dagger etched with runes and strange symbols, both laying where he had sealed them up 10 years prior when he'd married the Frost-Coven witch. Securing the dagger in his belt, he slid the bag over his shoulder. As he left the house, he turned and cast a flaming ball of energy inside. The fire spread quick and hot, consuming everything it touched. Slipping the hummingbird talisman over his neck, tucking it deep into his shirt, he swore an oath. "I'll find you, daughter. On my last breath, I'll find you."